Hey, and welcome to another round of researching for the Senior Capstone paper. Again, I'm Mr. Jason Profit at Hunters Lane High School, and we're talking about researching like a college student. Hopefully, you viewed our two previous videos in this series on why you should research like a college student and the four problems with why high school research usually doesn't work. And then you looked at how to research like a college student using Tennessee Electronic Library, where we kind of gave a walkthrough on how electronic databases can help solve a lot of common research problems, particularly as it relates to the senior capstone paper. However, sort of before moving on, I kind of wanted to talk about some other ways of getting research done. Electronic databases are great and are often a source of some of the best peer-reviewed sources that people can get on the topic. But there's other good ways to research. And here in Nashville, we have Limitless Libraries. And it's a great tool, and it's helped a lot of our kids with capstone papers. And we were almost just sort of going to go past it and sort of move on with the paper. But I kind of wanted to talk about to students who the electronic databases weren't quite working, or they're interested in using sort of whole books and longer and more traditional sources to work on their research projects and their capstone papers. And Limitless Libraries is a great resource, and it's worth taking just a couple minutes here to look at it and see how it could help you. What exactly is it? So, Limitless Libraries is something, again, very special just here in Nashville. So, Nashville Public Library gives every MNPS student a free library account. You have a free library account personally assigned to you, even if you did not know that or had not heard it before. You have a free library account. You can browse books there and have them sent directly to your school. Now, I'm saying this right now in the middle of a pandemic, and there's still some stuff here that can definitely help you, and we're going to talk about that. And if you're watching this after we've been allowed to go back in the building, then that part doesn't matter, but I want to highlight that. You can check out books online in Nashville Public Library, have them sent to your school for free, and return them at your school for free, no charge, no late fees, and that's a great benefit. It's got other stuff too. So if you're here at home and you're doing e-learning and you can't get access to your school building or physical books, there's other stuff here in Limitless Library that's going to help you. But I wanted to highlight that, and just in case people are doing this in the spring semester or a later year when the buildings are back open. But why would you want to use whole books as sources? You might say, Mr. Profit, books are long. I'd rather read web articles. Well, there's some things you might want to think about. Books can be generally easier to follow, particularly than the peer-reviewed research studies that are on things like Tennessee Electronic Library. It's naturally going to go more in depth, so you may have less trouble trying to find good information than trying to use 5 or 6 sources around the same topic. And what I think is particularly cool, you could get ideas about sectioning your own paper from looking at several different books. And then you can use the chapter titles in the books to help you search for more in-depth information on other sources. And particularly if you're having trouble reading some of the stuff on Tennessee Electronic Library, you might really want to try Limitless Libraries. And I've had students do entire capstone papers using Limitless Libraries. And I think some of my students who use less sources than the tell people, if they're doing good uh, research through Limitless Libraries. And that's maybe why you consider getting whole books sometimes to be your sources. Uh, Limitless Library, by the way, I will highlight this. I don't think we're going to have a whole separate video on it, but there's also Google Books, which is another great way to search books. Again, Google Books has sources that are not on general Google. You have really only have access to the books that Google has scanned, but that's a lot of books. And within that, you only have the information available that the publisher will be allowed to be shown for free. But sometimes that can be a lot of information. And I've had many students have success with Google Books. And if you like these ideas and Limitless Library isn't working for you, you may want to try going to books.google.com, or get your teacher to help you with that. That's another great resource. But why should you generally use the Limitless Libraries program? And we're about to show you how it works. Again, you're going to have easy access to longer sources, both ebooks and physical books, a lot of titles. It can be easier to search in the databases. They also have apps like Overdrive and Libby that easily allow you to download audiobooks and physical books to your phone. And yes, you can use audiobooks. Good quality audiobooks as part of your research. Again, some pandemic information as I'm creating this video in the middle of it. You can still get physical books if you prefer to research that way. And I just want to tell that to everybody in case that's your preference. Up here in our Hunters Lane zone, you can still pick up physical books at the Madison Library, though Goodlettsville and Old Hickory are closed. You can reserve them online and have them sent there. If you are watching this at a non-Hunters Lane school, you can go again to the library website, which we're about to show, and you can see where you can have physical books sent near you. There's still about 7 to 8 branches that are functioning during the pandemic, and they're doing curbside pickup right now as I talk. So you still have access to physical books. You check them out online and you can go pick them up. But today we're going to talk about getting online books. And so how do you access Limitless Libraries? You have this free account. There's the website, library.nashville.org. Your username is your student ID number, and your password is your birthday. It's just the month, day, those 4 digits. So if it was August 11th, it'd be 0811. If it was December 10th, it'd be 1210. If it was February 14th, if you're Valentine's Day, 0214. That would be your password. So we're going to take a quick look at Limitless Library and sort of how it works. So there again, you see the Google Books website, but here's where we're headed. So I have logged in as one of my students, thank you. And we're gonna do a quick look at Limitless Library and see what it has. So in a previous video, we looked at nursing, we looked at basketball history. We'll be looking at robots later in the sort of source template video. But I wanted to let's look at something a little more historical. So I did some search for the civil rights era earlier. So this is going to search all Nashville Public Library for things on the civil rights era. Now, what you see here immediately is sort of a standard library search. I realize we're in the middle of a pandemic, but you see these are books that they have on the civil rights era. And I could look for something that interested me. I can click on them, look at the title, and I can have them sent to me at my school if I had access. I will show you that very quickly. So if you were interested in this book on press photographs of Nashville during the civil rights era, you would come over here, you would click place hold, and then you would say, I want to pick up this location at, and then you'd pick the library where you would like to pick that up. If it was during the school year, your school here would be here as an option. You can see that some of them are currently closed for the pandemic, but you can also see the ones that are open. Now that's if you want a physical book. However, I want to talk about things I think that a lot of our students don't look at that's really helpful. If you look up here, you're going to see that there's options, and this includes ebooks. So ebooks you can read online. You can read them whenever you want. And so I'm here searching for things on the civil rights era. I can put a hold on something that's checked out, but I can check out entire books online. So here, for example, is an entire online book on the whole civil rights era. So I can click on it, find more information out about it. Note it gives me a lot of the things that I need to look at this book, to check it out. So I have authors, I got publication information. It tells me what's in it, gives me recommended books, also to look on the same topic. And so this is a resource that guides us through key events, successes, and trials of the civil rights movement. So if you were a person interested in doing like something on the civil rights era, and I have a lot of sort of historical type capstone papers, this might be a book you might want to check out. So let's take a look at it. So I'd come over here and I'd click checkout. Cool. Now I can view my checkouts. So I've checked out the student, and look, I can read it online. I can also return it back when I'm done. I can also download it to my device. So I can download an EPUB book if I have an EPUB reader on my phone, and you can get those apps for free. So I can just read it online. It's going to pull up the whole book. Look, I'm going to have a whole chapter book online. I can read it online, temp through. I could come over here. I can look at, I could search these for more details. I can click on them, and it will take me straight to the chapter. So if I want to look at this part about the Vietnam War and the NAACP and Malcolm X, even get pictures. Look at all that. It's pretty easy to read, straightforward. I can even search later for some of these different parts of it. And this is sometimes what's really good about kind of using whole books. And Limitless Libraries makes it really easy. Let's back out of this a quick second. Let's look for something else. What if you're doing something advocacy, like Well, we're on stuff on the civil rights era. What if I want to do, for example, global warming? So you're doing more advocacy cap topic. Again, is there stuff that can help me? Well, again, we search here again. We get some kid stuff here. You can narrow it by age bracket over here. But again, I want to look at some ebooks. The politically incorrect guide to global warming environment. Always good to. So this is kind of about global warming hysteria. So that's from some conservative view. Always check for bias. Not that you couldn't use that. You might want to have both sides, some balance and some talk in there. But always, it's always good to read critically. The comprehensive plan proposed to reverse global warming climate change demystified, global warming for dummies. Again, use high quality sources. Global warming and climate change. That's from the Library of Congress. That might be kind of cool. Facts and fallacies of global warming. So a lot of things out there. Again, stuff you check out. Some of these things definitely have some political bents both ways. You want to be really careful. Again, looking at whole books, we can't be uncritical readers. But that doesn't mean necessarily that's bad. So this has a really, really, really leading title. But let's check it out. It just makes you want to click on the next thing. That doesn't mean it's good. Often that's a thing. But so this is a guy who's assembled a whole bunch of scientists about carbon emissions. So, hey, let's take a look. So it's got the ebook. We can check it out. Yeah, I want to view my checkouts. You can see my other one. It's still there. No, it's saved to my account. I can still download it to my advice if I want, or I can put it on a Kindle. And I can go through the ebook. Tells me everybody who made it. Look, you got good source information. All the things you need to cite it in the source. We'll go through some of the pictures. And it's talking about here's a lot of the various ideas that people have had. So they've put a lot of different people together. So if I want to talk about something, and I'm not an expert on global warming, I know our environmental teachers would have a lot to say about some of these things. So if I want an example, look at forest protection because trees filter carbon. And so this is talking about the type of forest necessary to help with climate change. So I kind of want us to take one moment here. And if you're following us perfectly in the timeline, this is actually before the next video talks about the source hunts. But when we did the source hunt video, and you might want to hunt something on Limitless Libraries, then come back to this. I did want to talk about how to use this document if you're doing something from Limitless Libraries. So really quickly, kind of a dive through this. Again, if you want to go hunt something and come back to this later when you're doing the source hunt video, and we have a video in the next module that completely explains this document. It still works very similar. You're still going to have the title. I mean, actually go back here. So this one is called Drawdown, and we have the whole subtitle too. So I can still put my book title. I'm just using that now. And once again, just like the next video, I got to hit Control V. Now the source location, I'm probably not going to have a direct link this time. I'm just going to put Limitless Libraries. I put that's an ebook. So unlike the electronic databases, I'm not going to have one link to go back to it, but I can just log into Limitless Libraries. I can put the author, Paul Hawken. Still giving me like good sources, everything I need to make a good citation. That's going to be Paul Hawken. Give me a quick look here. So again, I'm going to have my 4 to 5 sentence source summary. All right. This book is a collection of ways suggested to solve climate change, presented by over 200 scholars. Now, usually I'd read a bunch more, but I don't want this video to go on forever. So we're going to pretend that I read a whole chapter. And this is something you may want to talk to your teacher about, like, how do you fill out, what if I'm using multiple chapters out of this? Ask your teacher exactly what you want to do. If you're using several chapters from a whole book, if it needs to go over multiple source hunts, but usually this would be 4 to 5 sentences. I would put 2 key facts in here, and then I might say my reaction to the source and its usefulness. This seems to be a worthy source of scientific data for my paper on global warming climate change. It contains chapters on energy, forestation, and women plus others. I still need to review all data for bias because it has so many sources. So other material related to it that's not in this book. But that's how you might do something from Limitless Libraries in the source hunts. Again, if you've not seen this document before, it's the next video trying to find sources to fill for your capstone paper. However, all the examples we used in it were not from Limitless Libraries. They were from Tennessee Electronic Library. You would just finish the summary and find a couple key quotations. I might use a source hunt for a chapter, though I would still want to check with my teacher to make sure I'm getting enough sources from different places. And so again, for Jason Profit from Hunters Lane High School, hope you consider using whole books, be it Limitless Libraries or Google Books, for at least part of your source search. Good luck on your capstone papers.